are recording there, and it is a good Tuesday. It's time for Clubhouse Chatter. Here's Normore Days.
Hey, that's right. We are back for another Tuesday. It's a stormy Tuesday here in the Eola Hills of Amity, Oregon. And so we might lose power. If we lose power, hey, we'll get back. So our guest today is Rod Tafoya. And before we get to the guest, I have a couple of things to say. And so baseball lost a true legend Sunday. His name was George Genovese, and a lot of people haven't heard about George. George was 93. Been active in professional baseball for about 70 years. He was a scout for the Dodgers, Giants, Royals, and Cardinals. And I mean, you talk to people who've been in the business of baseball. John DeAquisto is one of them. I know he signed Dmitri Young. He signed a ton of guys. And George passed on Sunday. And check out the interview that we did with him. George was a great guy. I had some great baseball stories. I also want to bring up, we've had a pretty rough week with the Paris bombings and everything else going on in Baghdad and Kenya and going around the world. And I'm not trying to get political here, but let's keep everybody in our prayers and in our thoughts. I mean, we're in a rough time right now with ISIS, or Daesh as they're called, and without getting political, I'm just going to say, hey, let's keep everybody in our prayers and thoughts, not only in Paris but around the world here in America. We're going to get through this, and to get through this, we're going to need each other, and we're going to need to be diligent. So with that said, Rod, how's it going?
How's it going, Norm? Thanks for having me third time.
Dude, I'm really excited. Every time I get you on, it's after like a tournament. And so you played in a tournament in Florida this last weekend with the Atlanta Bulls. And I was reading the list of who you played against and played with, and it's pretty impressive.
Pretty impressive list of players. I was impressed myself when I looked the majority of them up today, and I just feel blessed to be able to still play with some guys like that, of that caliber at 51, and it's nice to be on the diamond and share the game with these kinds of guys.
So you played with the Atlanta Bulls. So how does that work? So they just call you and say, hey, we would like you to be on our rotation?
Well, here's how it worked. Last year I got a call from a gentleman by the name of Jeff Boyer, who runs the team, and he's a magnificent guy all around. He runs a first-class team. He, first of all, gets a sponsorship and brings the best guys he can find and puts together an all-expenses-paid trip. And we stay the week in a condo on the beach in Reddington Beach, Florida. And then we just take short little drives to the park, in Clearwater or Tampa every day. And it's just a wonderful time. He just puts together a first-class team, and he has the nucleus of a back-to-back national championship team, and he just keeps building. And I brought in a pitcher, and one of our infielders brought another outfielder, and we just got better. So I brought in Jason Jarvis from Phoenix, who was a Yankee farmhand, right-handed pitcher, and I think he probably threw our best game this year. He touched 90 miles an hour, and he just pitched great. He pitched a complete game with 11 strikeouts. But he was incidentally known for being the name in the trade for David Cohn when Cohn came to the Yankees from the Blue Jays. They sent Jarvis to the Blue Jays. So pretty cool stuff.
Do you guys play at like the minor league ballparks?
We play in all the minor league ballparks in both Tampa and Clearwater.
How cool is
awesome.
that?
Those fields are immaculate.
Yeah. And so talk a little bit about this 35 and over league. So, a lot of people think it's old man ball, but you were reading the list of former major leaguers that, you were touching 15, 16 guys? We're talking like guys like Dante Bichette Those guys are no slouches. I mean, you're no slouch yourself.
Absolutely. I watched Dante Bichette really close this time because I figured I might pitch against him. I was slated to pitch against him, but it fell through because of the rainout. But when I looked up Dante Bichette, I had no idea what kind of player he was in the past. He was a 7th rounder, played with the Rockies, and overall in his career, this guy, believe it or not, he hit 299. He hit 274 home runs, played 14 years, 1,700 games, 6,300 bats, and he made $43 million. That's just unheard of. And for a guy to still be, 51, 52 years old and still have passion and love for the game, to show up every game. Actually, he played 35 and over and 45 and over. So he played baseball all day and night.
So Dante, early in the 80s and 90s, he came up with the Angels, and he was one of my favorites. I met him on a couple of occasions. Nice guy, really nice guy. And he was one of the original Blake Street bombers for the Rockies. We're talking like Bichette and Andres Galarraga and Todd Helton and
Vinny Castilla.
And Vinny Castilla, yeah. And so, is he still raking?
Don't forget Larry Walker.
And Larry Walker, yes. Is he still raking? Is he still able to hit really well?
He hits really well. I saw him get a base hit. He had a few doublers where he, top-handed the ball, but it was nice to see him. He's real anxious. He has a hard time staying back on some of these guys when they throw him the kitchen sink, but he's still a good fastball hitter, and we give him a lot of respect. But he comes up there just ready to play, and from his past, you could tell he's no slouch, and he's going to give you everything he's got. But he's a gamer, and he loves to play, and I give him all the respect because of what he does at his age and where he's been. It's just a remarkable story.
So Dante, here's a little tidbit of Dante played with the Salem Angels. So Salem is probably about 25 miles from where we're at. So he played with the Salem Angels. And so so tell us about the tournament. So you guys took home the top trophy. You guys won it all.
Top trophy. We went 6-0-1, and we had 3 teams in the tournament this year. We usually have more, but I'm not real sure the reason, but I have some ideas. We had East Coast Cardinals represented, San Antonio Titans. Incidentally, they came from the MSBL tournament in Arizona, where they had won 4 straight national championships. So they kind of got tired of winning over there, so they decided to take that talent to Florida and see what's going on out there. And, the competition's a little bit tougher in Florida. And then we had ourselves, of course, and then we had last year we had Venezuela come down, but I think they had some passport visa issues this year, so they didn't make it. So we had to have a tournament with 3 players and play, 6 games, kind of round-robin type deal. But still a very competitive tournament, 35 and over National, Falcon Classic, World Series. I think a lot of teams just don't want to play in the National, because maybe they just don't have the caliber of talent that it takes to compete against, all these major and minor league guys.
Right. And on Facebook, as I was throwing, the show out there today, Brian Tolberg responds. Brian, who used to pitch with the Padres and used to pitch up here in Portland, Oregon with the Beavers. I've had Brian on the show, and Brian pitched for the EC Cardinals.
Right. He did well. I remember him now. I thought probably we had him mixed up with another major leaguer, but I looked him up, and he played 3-4 straight years with the Padres in the big leagues. So he's been to the show. He's climbed his Everest, and here he was playing with us as well.
So what other? So let's talk about your catcher. You told me that he is the best amateur. You think he's the best amateur catcher in the nation?
Absolutely. His name is Jacob Serrato. He's from Chicago, and he played with the Chicago Cubs, signed as a free agent, and wonderful catcher. I've had Jake probably for the last 8 to 10 years, And, you know, he's about 6'2". He's a big guy. But the thing about Jake is that he knows how to handle all these pitchers, from major league guys, AAA guys, to amateur guys, and everything in between. But he's such an easygoing fellow, real nice, knowledgeable, knows how to catch a great game. And most of the guys that are on our staff, you know, they're all on the same page. He knows every one of them, how they throw, what pitches to expect. And the neat thing about Jake is he can hit. He hit one of our home runs at the tournament, and he's just a great all-around player. And I think, personally, he's the best amateur catcher in the nation. Remember, I've pitched all around the country, and I've thrown over 650 games, and this guy's no slouch. He's the real deal. I just wish he would have made the big leagues, because he's such a well-deserved player.
If I'm not mistaken, Jake played with the Boise Hawks as well.
Jake did not. He played in, I want to say, Huntington. He played in one of the minor leaguers, for one of the minor leagues for 1 year.
All right, so
and then he played independent ball.
Okay, the name stands out. I know the name, and you know, for years, you know, the Boise Hawks were the Cubs. In Northwest League, and I mean, you know about the Hawks. You pitching with them back in the day, and so
another guy we had playing. We had him playing with us in Puerto Rico when I went this year in February, but he was playing for East Coast Cardinals, and that was Glenn Sutko. He was a 45th round pick for the Reds, and he made the major leagues at the age of 21 with the Reds, and got a World Series ring in 1990. So
yeah, he
another big catcher.
He didn't really have. He's just one of those, you know, utility guys, right?
Well, he's a catcher by trade, but you know, I did see him pitch. But he's a wonderful catcher. I mean, he's 6'5", 250.
Jeez.
Just a chisel. He's a rare specimen. This guy's just amazing for his age, you know. But again, another guy that made the big leagues at an early age and still has the fight and passion to play. Just a wonderful guy.
So you were telling me about you met a gentleman, and I believe it was a father of one of the players, and you have a story to tell us about that.
One of my roommates, I had some great roommates. I had Kevin Thompson, 31st rounder for the Yankees, actually hit 300 one of his years for the Yankees in the major leagues. I had Chris Cumberland, a 48th round pick from the Yankees, one of the better pitchers in the country. And Jason Jarvis, the 13th rounder with the Yankees, one of my best buddies. And an infielder by the name of Jason Alfaro from Texas, and he was a 22nd rounder from the Astros. He played 7 games in the big leagues. But I roomed with all those guys and had just a wonderful, fantastic week. But in the championship game, right around the 5th inning, we brought in 6th inning, we brought in Chris Cumberland from the Yankees, and he was pitching, and his father and mother and brother came down and watched him, and I saw his dad from behind the plate, and I kind of just introduced myself to him, and we were talking, and oh my goodness, that was the best conversation I've ever had with anyone. It was quite a lot of info, but it was just great. I had brought his dad's baseball cards to Puerto Rico, and we were at the pool, and you know, I had all the guys that played in the minor leagues when we were in Puerto Rico, and I showed Chris his father's card that my brother had dug up in his collection, and so I had a little understanding of who John Cumberland was, and then you kind of looked him up and found out he played in the Giants, Yankees, Angels, and Cardinals organization, and he was 15 and 16 in the big leagues with a 3.82 ERA. But he was a Mets pitching coach when they won the World Series in 1986. So he was telling me about stories about Doc Gooden and, you know, how he was instrumental in helping him go to the big leagues, and just great stories. And then he was a pitching coach with the Boston Red Sox with both Pedro and Roger Clemens. So
wow.
He just had story after story, and it was just wonderful to kind of interview him behind the backstop. It was great experience.
Doc Gooden just had a birthday, I believe.
Oh,
So
is that right?
I believe it was yesterday, and so I remember them talking about it on the Hot Stove. Harold Reynolds and whoever else, I can't remember who else was talking about it, but yeah. So that's kind of interesting. I mean, three legends, Gooden and Clemens, of course, and Pedro. I mean, Pedro's a bulldog.
Yeah, you can't get better than that.
With Clemens, all of his, I don't know, all of his shortfalls, if you want to call him that, you know what? I mean, he's a Hall of Famer in my book. So,
Right.
So what do you got on the agenda? You going to take a little time off or do you got another tournament coming up?
Well, I haven't taken any time off in the past, I want to say 9 years. I've been just going straight through the year, but I threw a lot again, another year older, and I think it's time to shut it down. I talked to some of the guys that I trust and kind of asked them for their opinion on what they think I should do, and it seems like I've been pitching with a little shoulder strain and have been winning despite that. Luckily my teams have been scoring me some runs in the last 3 games. But I did go 12-1 this year and pitched 15 complete games and, got up to 320 on my MSBL number. So I'm thinking maybe I'm going to take a break until January and just maybe get into some lifting, I'm thinking, for the first time and see what happens with my body in 2016, and then head to Puerto Rico in February and be real strong and start all over again.
So you had more complete games than wins this year.
I did. I had a few no decisions that were pretty rough to stomach, but it's part of the game, and sometimes just you think you have a good cushion and a good lead, and then your release just fails you. But it's just part of the game. It just happens.
That is something you will not see in the major leagues. Not anymore.
No, well, in amateur ball, sometimes if you want to win, you got a complete 9. That's just the way it is. Sometimes some of the teams just aren't equipped with, a lot of pitching. You might have 2 guys or 3 guys, but it's just the way it is. But I'm pretty happy with 12-1 this year. At my age, I worked really hard, and I'm real happy with the season I had.
So let's chat a little bit about the routine, your game day routine. What do you when you know you're pitching? What do you do for that day?
Well, I'm one that's real meticulous about my routine, and those who know me know that I need at least an hour of time to prepare. I'm a real big preparation guy. I like to get to the field real early, first one, and that kind of sets my mind and the tone to get a win, But I like to stretch and get all limbered up, and I've got some Jaeger bands that I'll just put on the fence and use that surgical tubing and get my arms stretched, and then I do some stretching for about 15-20 minutes, and then I start with some sprints and some jogging, and once I feel that I've got a good sweat going, and then I put on my spikes and start a little bit of throwing, real light, real close range, and then I get to 50 to 100 feet, 150 feet, and then I just blow it out. I throw some long toss. Long toss is great for me. It just kind of limbers up the shoulder, and then I get someone to stretch me again on the arms, and then I just start, going 60 feet with the catcher, and I like to do my work on the field. I don't like to go to the bullpen. I don't like using those mounds because I feel that sometimes when you go from a bullpen mound to a game mound, there could be a slight difference, with a half inch or a quarter inch on the dirt, and I just don't want to mess up my routine or anything that's going on with my wind-up or delivery. So I usually like to go from flat ground straight to the mound, and I've been doing that since 1997 when I had a little difference of mound, in Canada. The last time I kind of felt something different going on with my mechanics. So I decided to just go flat ground. And it's worked ever since. And the routine has been something that, it's just religious from now. And just feel comfortable, and, it all works. And the bottom line is I win and still compete.
Let's talk a little bit about nutrition, because I know that's important to you as well. And so, like, part of your routine, I mean, is there a certain, like, food that you'll eat the night before, or maybe for breakfast or whatever?
It's tough on the road. It's really tough. A lot of us guys just kind of, you kind of have to be a little bit choosy, but I like my roommates. They like chicken. We stopped at a few places that had chicken, and I know that one of my roommates, or two or three of them, Jason, Jarvis, Alfaro, and Kevin Thompson from the Yankees, they all like chicken, and they were real into their health. So that was nice, and just tried to eat healthy as much as you can on the road. It's not that easy though. Hey,
Wade Boggs ate chicken every day before a game for his entire career, so I love chicken as well.
I know of that story.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep. And so...
And then I try to maintain my supplements. I try to take joint supplements, chondroitin, glucosamine, amino acids, all that stuff, and protein, and that seems to at least heal me up for the next game. So
right.
I've got a routine that seems to be working.
Well, you've been doing it for quite a while. So now, how many wins do you have now, all total?
Well, let's see. In MSBL, I hit 320 with 62 losses, and that encompasses 1994 to current. And then if I count from like high school on, we're looking at about 412. So if I can catch old Cy and that big number of 5'11", that's 100 more. So, if I can just win 12 to 15, I think I'll do it. But even if I get 10 for 10 more years, I think I'll do it. It's just a matter of cutting down some of those complete games, and
that's amazing.
Maybe just cutting that stress level down.
I wonder, you could be the all-time winningest pitcher, with winning percentage in amateur baseball.
That's quite possible. My brother and I look at that quite often, and we were talking about it today, as a matter of fact, in a phone conversation earlier this morning. But when I won my first 100, I had won 100 and lost 12.
Wow.
And then in my second 100, I went 227, and then I ended up 360. So, I've kind of maintained. I think I slipped in the third 100, but again, when you age, it's just a little bit tougher to do what you do in the first 1 and 200. Just not that easy. Body's a little different now.
So when you play with these former minor leaguers and major leaguers, hey, you was talking about your brother getting the cards. Where do you guys get your cards? Do you get them off of eBay?
My brother has an amazing collection. I don't even think we know we have so many cards. But like I said, the story started when he had left for college, and there's a 13, 14-year difference between me and my brothers. And when he was gone, I was just alone in my bedroom, which we had shared when I was a kid. But I looked and saw this box in the corner of the closet, and I got a chair and climbed up there, and I still remember all the cards that I saw. He had like 1960 Carl Yastrzemski, he had Koufax, Mantle, Mays, Aaron, Berra from Post serials that they cut out on the back of the box. He just had Topps cards galore, just, from the 57 through 61, 62, and that kind of started me, and from there we just started collecting sets, and he got back into the passion for collecting cards, and then I got him into minor league cards, and now he's just got sets upon sets of minor league guys, just trying to get guys that I play with.
Mm-hmm.
He's got them in binders, and he just takes real good care of his cards, and it's one of his big passions in life as well. So we get all these cards, and when I travel, I bring all the cards with me this year's cards were Kevin Thompson. We had like 8 or 9 of him, and he happened to be my roommate, and I just kind of showed him the cards and said, hey, could you please autograph these for me and sign them? And he was just like, man, I haven't seen these cards. Haven't seen this card ever. First time I've seen this card. And it was just great. Just to see their faces light up. Had another guy. This guy has to be one of the best shortstops in the country. His name is Chatter-Guest-Rodney. He goes by Diggs, D-I-G-Z, for digging out ground balls. And, this guy's one of the best shortstops I have ever seen. I just don't understand why he didn't make the big leagues.
He was a tournament MVP, wasn't he?
Last year he was tournament MVP. Yeah, we had a tournament MVP, another infielder, Sean Cortez Crockett from Detroit, one of his buddies. We had a little Detroit connection that they're just gifted players. But Diggs is one heck of an athlete. He and our center fielder, Chris Yates, he was a free agent with the Astros, and Diggs played with the Padres. But, we have these guys 1 and 2 in our lineup. So one guy gets a base hit. Next thing, guy steals second hitter gets a base hit, 1-0. It's just nuts to watch these guys play. They just have a magic thing going together that happens every tournament, and every time I see him play, it's wonderful.
I'm gonna have to look old Diggs up. And so, with the baseball cards, it's funny because I'm a collector and I collect autographs as well. And when you bring a bunch of minor league cards, like I found 2 of you, and usually it's trip down memory lane, and it is so much more enjoyable for me, for a player, to look at these cards, and if he's a coach of a team, show them off to the kids playing for him, and it's like sometimes they get doubles of some rare cards, and that way they could have them and stuff like that. But yeah, it's just a trip down memory lane, and a lot of them go into stories, and it's awesome. It's so much better than actually getting the autograph. And I've got a great guy, by the way. His name is Dave Weber, and he lives in Denver, Colorado. And that's who I get my minor league cards from. And I've asked him for some pretty rarity, some rare ones. We've got a police chief here in McMinnville, Matt Scales, who played with the Lethbridge Black Diamonds back in like 90, and he's on one card, but he had it. And so so if you ever check him out, if you ever want that email, I'll shoot that email to you, and you just give him who you're looking for, and then he'll email you back, this is what I have listed, and do you want me to send them to you? I mean, he charges a $1 or $2 a card, but you're going to get them cheaper usually from him than you are going to get off of eBay. And so,
well, I know my brother's listening, so I'm sure he's jotted down the name.
Yeah, and so great guy, Dave Weber in Denver, Colorado. I'll shoot you that email, and like I said, I did a search and found 2 from you, and one of these days we're going to meet, and I'll have you sign them, and it's going to be glorious.
Yeah, so, that's awesome. I remember that day like it was yesterday. I just remember the pose and the guy that took the picture. I remember the day, and I just couldn't wait for 3 months to pass to where baseball card night happened in August. And, I remember the kids coming with the packs, opening up the pack and searching for my card and just hoping nothing happened to it. Yeah. They made a mistake, and I was in that pack, and just the feeling was just, it was heaven. And just being a big collector with my brothers, growing up and getting that first card, and it was just magical moment in my life. So, have you seen the new Topps commercials for the baseball cards? I have. Yes, and so where they're trading the Buster Posey, and they trade, that's a pretty cool commercial. Trades them for Johnny Bench, and some of my best memories of growing up as a kid was collecting baseball cards. I remember a buddy of mine in Boise, Idaho, Mark Brokowski. We completed, I think it was the 1983 Fleer sets, and we bought the cards. And that's the way we did it. I mean, we would go and literally buy. It's back when you could get a box for $15, or you could get five packs for $1.
And
Wow.
so I remember we'd go do yard work for the summer and just save up our money, and we'd go buy a case. And
Well, I recall my brother telling me stories where some of the neighbors would put the cards on their spokes and, drive right down the street with the card just kind of flickering through the spokes, and it's like, that's crazy. I wonder how many cards were lost.
well, I lost a Hank Aaron that way. So I did. I remember as a kid growing up in Germany, I had a Hank Aaron. It probably was a 74, 75. Yeah. Dang it. Things we do as kids, But
Absolutely. Card collecting's great, though.
So let's chat about your website. So go ahead and plug your website for us a little bit.
Yeah, working on the website right now. Just talked to someone from the web about that, and just so much stuff has happened in the last 10 months. You got to get all that stuff in there, and it's a little overwhelming. I've done a lot of press in the last year, and been real fortunate with that. But it's agelessarm.com, and it should be up in a week or two. But it has just so much stuff. I've been so blessed to get a lot of good coverage, and a lot of people following the story. But it's been really cool. I was telling my brother today I saw a like on my Facebook for Ageless Arm from Kevin Millar, so I thought that was kind of cool.
Nice. Yeah, you definitely got a great story. We love talking baseball with you. We're going to be putting together a 12 Days of Christmas. So we're going to be giving away stuff to our fans, our listeners, and we're going to name it.
I kind of lost you there. Sorry about that.
We're going to do a giveaway for Christmas, and so we will call back here.
I think with the wind and everything else, we may have had a interruption there. So it is
Sorry
windy
about
up here in the Eola Hills area today.
Yes, it is.
How do you like the radio voice today?
I like it.
You like that?
I like it.
All right, we're back.
All right, so we did not lose power. So somehow we got disconnected. So Brian and I are doing Brian and Norm's 12 Days of Christmas. And so we're going to be giving back to our listeners and followers. We're going to be doing, like I said, 12 Days of Christmas. So 12 days in December, we're going to be doing some giveaways. And we would like you to be a part of that. And you and I have chatted a little bit about it. And we're going to be trying to give away some different fan packages. And so my wife is a tasting room manager for a winery here in Oregon. So we're going to do maybe, some wine tasting and a couple of bottles of wine. I got a buddy that's Smoking Soldier Productions in Idaho. He does a music fest and do some tickets. And, you and I will chit-chat about that a little bit and see what we can have you put together.
Yeah, I have an idea. Remember we were talking about the logo on those baseball caps?
Yeah.
And I have the little Ageless Arm logo that I'm trying to put together, but I'll put some of those in and some books. I think that.
Okay. And then we're going to get you a Clubhouse Chatter shirt here soon. So I'll get working on that. I got another order going in here probably in another week. And so I'm pretty excited about the new logo and our stuff. And we are definitely, once again, thank you for coming on. And we love having you on.
Thank you. Well, I'm just excited that, we got a little PR for the MSBL. And, I think people need to put together some great teams and come and challenge us out in Florida. And I don't know if you knew this, but Roger Clemens and Oil Can Boyd faced each other a couple weeks ago in the MSBL World Series in Arizona.
That would be awesome.
Roger Clemens beat Oil Can. Houston beat Boston Wolfpack 4-1. So Clemens actually pitched, I want to say five innings or so, but pretty neat. They're all
that
coming
awesome.
out. They all missed the game. They all still have passion for the game. It's wonderful to.
And if any of those guys, that you're in touch, if they want to chat, hey, shoot them my number. I would love to get them on the show and talk about their baseball experiences. If they got books or whatever, websites, we'll promote them and just get them on the show and just chat baseball.
Wonderful. We've got a list of 15 guys that we're playing against last week, so I'm sure one of them would love the opportunity.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. All right, so, hey, do you guys got any snow there in Santa Fe?
We got, I want to say, 5 to 6 inches last night, and it was wonderful. It was beautiful. I love the snow. It was kind of weird getting off a plane on Sunday, coming back from 85 to 88 humid, hot weather in Tampa, and then having to pull out some winter clothes for work on, Tuesday. It was just nuts. I think we got maybe 6 inches.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so then by midday it was kind of gone. So it's just the way it is out here in the Southwest.
Beautiful Santa Fe, New Mexico. If you have never been to Santa Fe, it's gorgeous.
That's
it is
what
gorgeous.
I tell all the guys.
My dad we spent 3 years in Fort Bliss, Texas. And so I remember running up through New Mexico a couple different times as a kid and stuff, Albuquerque and Santa Fe and whatnot. Truth or Consequences, So it's beautiful. And it's a different kind of beautiful. So
yeah.
All right, Rod, hey, thank you for coming on. And we will definitely keep in touch. And plug your website one more time, please.
Agelessarm.com.
All right. And we will chat with you a little bit later.
I really appreciate the opportunity again, Norm. Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Anytime you want to talk baseball, you know how to get a hold of me. All right.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Once again, Mr. Rodney Tafoya, the Ageless Arm, 51 years old. I mean, that's pretty exciting. That's some pretty high caliber baseball. Considering, I look at some of the guys that play, 35 and over around here, you get like, golly, I'm drawing a blank right now.
51's, that's impressive.
It is impressive.
And he's playing against 35-year-olds.
Yeah.
And he's playing against ex-professional players.
And
he's winning. Dante Bichette, he's probably 50.
Yes.
But you know what? The guy can still swing, I guarantee it.
And I don't care how old they are, but, dude, I would love to have seen that Oil Can Boyd, Roger Clemens matchup.
Awesome.
Oil Can Boyd, never met him. I've heard so many stories about him, and he is a true character.
Would be fun to see.
Roger Clemens I have met. Roger Clemens, good dude. Good dude.
Good to hear.
From what you hear, he's a good dude. Met him in Lancaster. Yeah, good dude. So I'm Norm, that's Brian. Hey, be paying attention. We're going to be doing a 12 Days of Christmas. We're starting to put together something. We're going to have some giveaways. So pay attention on Facebook, Twitter, yamhilltoday.com. Where else? MLB blogs.
You name it. You're everywhere.
Trying to be.
Twitter.
So we are sponsored by baseballism.com. Hey, they're getting ready to have a Black Friday special. So check them out. I was chatting with Jonathan and Kaylin today about coming on the show. They can't until after Black Friday. They're so busy with orders and stuff. Check them out. They got some great deals. Baseballdudes.com. Chris Gazelle up there in Vancouver, Washington. To be the best, you must train like the best. Also, Base by Pros. Mitch Canham up there in Washington, building an athlete sports education. Basebypros.com. And do you like the sweatshirt? I like the sweatshirt and our logo. And it is MDM Designs, Mark Canham, Mitch's dad over there in Lebanon. He does our shirts for us. Check him out. He does a great job. Tell him, Norm sent you. Yamhilltoday.com is where we stream live most every Tuesday. Hey, if you'd like to sponsor the show, shoot me an email, normbo18@gmail.com. We're on Twitter, Clubhouse Chatter 1T. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube. Like Brian says, we are almost everywhere. We are on MLB blogs, MLB.com blogs, Clubhouse Chatter. Check us out there. We put up the show there and try to keep that rolling. Also, check out the guys over at 9 Inning Know-It-All. So they've been posting some stuff about award winners and stuff like that. Don't want to forget the Know-It-All guys over there. And I'm Norm, that's Brian. We'll see you next week.